Walmart's TVs are so cheap, it almost feels too good to be true. But what if that unbelievable price tag is hiding a story you aren't meant to notice? From Samsung models built with cut corners just for Walmart, to $200 4K on-N TVs using entry-level parts, the bargains are carefully engineered lures, each with a hidden trade-off. Tonight we expose what Walmart doesn't tell you about their TVs and reveal the consequences behind every low price. Are you really saving money or just buying into a deal you don't fully understand? Walmart's TV pricing isn't a fluke or a seasonal gimmick. It's the result of a playbook built around two core tactics: loss leader pricing and the promise of everyday low prices. In retail, a loss leader is an item sold at little or no profit, sometimes even at a loss, just to get people through the door. For Walmart, TVs are the ultimate bait. Shoppers spot a 65-inch screen for hundreds less than anywhere else. But the real plan unfolds once that cart rolls past the electronics aisle. HDMI cables, wall mounts, surge protectors, snacks for movie night, all with healthy margins, all riding in the same basket. Everyday low price, or EDLP, takes this approach even further. Instead of waiting for holiday blowouts or weekend specials, Walmart keeps prices aggressively low all year. This turns the store into a destination for anyone hunting a deal, not just the Black Friday crowd. The idea is simple: make Walmart the first and only stop for big purchases, then count on the rest of the shopping list to make up the difference. The scale of Walmart's operation powers this strategy. By buying in massive quantities, the company can demand lower prices from suppliers and pass savings along to customers. But the math isn't about squeezing every dollar from a TV. It's about maximizing the total spent per visit. Industry analysts estimate that for every dollar lost on a rock-bottom TV price, Walmart may earn several more from the add-ons and essentials that fill out the cart. This approach doesn't just drive traffic. It shapes the way manufacturers build products for Walmart's shelves. Instead of chasing the highest performance or the latest features, the priority becomes hitting a price point that draws crowds. The result? A store that's always advertising a deal and a shopping trip that rarely ends with just a TV. The low sticker price is only the beginning of the story. A shopper stands in the TV aisle, scanning rows of screens. Two nearly identical Samsung boxes catch the eye, both 65-inch, both promising 4K Ultra HD, both stamped with the familiar logo. But look closer at the fine print, and a tiny difference appears: TU 7000 on one, TU 700D on the other. That single letter at the end isn't just a typo or a regional quirk. It's a code, and it changes the story inside the box. Retailers like Walmart use these suffixes to signal a custom build, made specifically for their shelves. The TU 700D, for example, is a Walmart-exclusive variant of Samsung's mainstream TU 7000. The outer shell, remote, and even the marketing materials look the same. But open up the specs, and subtle differences start to surface. Independent lab tests have measured the TU 700D's peak brightness at around 260 to 290 nits, noticeably dimmer than the TU 7000's typical 300 to 330 nits found at Best Buy or Amazon. That means sunlight in the living room can wash out the picture more easily, and HDR movies lose much of their punch. It doesn't stop there. Color coverage drops a few percentage points, which can dull the vibrancy of reds and greens in sports or animation. The contrast ratio often lands lower too, so black levels look more like dark gray. Some units ship with slightly slower response times, making fast motion look smeared or blurry. These tweaks aren't always listed on the box, and most shoppers won't spot them on a crowded shelf. But they show up in side-by-side tests and in the numbers published by reviewers who measure each model line by line. The reason for these changes is simple: cost. By trimming a few specs here and there, using a lower bin panel, cheaper backlight drivers, or a simplified firmware, manufacturers can meet Walmart's price target without sacrificing the look of a name-brand TV. The TU700D isn't a fake or a knockoff. It's a deliberate variant created to hit a lower price point and move volume fast. For shoppers, that means the model number suffix isn't just a detail. It's the key to what's really inside the box. Walmart's push for the lowest possible TV price finds its purest form in the ON brand, a name that barely registers outside the electronics aisle but sets the price floor for the entire market. ON isn't a legacy manufacturer. It's a Walmart house label, produced by contract partners whose job is to build a TV that can be sold for less than anyone else, period. The result? A 50-inch 4K ONN TV that regularly lists for under $200. That number is not a typo, and it's not a flash sale. It's the standard, sometimes even lower during holiday events. The path to that price begins with every component. ONN. TVs use entry-level VA panels, often parts that didn't make the cut for mainline Samsung or TCL units. These panels typically measure around 230 to 250 nits of peak brightness, a full third dimmer than even the most basic name brand models. Color coverage hovers below 75% of the DCI-P3 standard, leaving reds and greens looking muted, and black levels that drift toward gray. Inside, the processors and main boards are designed for cost, not speed or longevity. Firmware is pared down to essentials, sometimes running older versions of Roku or Android TV with limited support for updates. The build itself is a study in cost engineering. Power supplies use capacitors with lower temperature ratings. Backlight strips are sourced from lower bins, meaning uneven brightness is not uncommon. Even the remote feels lighter, often running on a single AAA battery. Every choice is about meeting a margin target, a TV that can be stacked high in the warehouse, moved quickly, and replaced just as fast if it fails within the short warranty window. For shoppers, the appeal is obvious. A 50-inch 4K screen for $198 is hard to ignore. But that price comes with invisible trade-offs, from display quality to long-term reliability. Onanja TVs are built to win the price war, not the picture contest. They set the baseline for what a TV can cost at Walmart, forcing competitors to chase a number that often means sacrificing the very features that make a TV worth watching. The bargain is real, but so are the compromises hidden behind that house brand logo. Measured side by side, the differences between Walmart's TV models and their mainstream counterparts aren't just theoretical, they're visible in the numbers. Professional display analysts put the Samsung TU700D, a Walmart exclusive, through lab tests and found its peak brightness lands around 260 to 290 nits. That's a solid step down from the 300 to 330 nits measured on the TU7000 sold at other retailers. In a sunlit room, this means glare wins out and HDR scenes lose their impact. The gap grows when you look at color. The TU700D covers about 76 to 78% of the DCI-P3 color standard, while the TU7000 stretches closer to 80%. In practice, reds and greens look a little less alive, and the overall picture loses some punch, especially in sports or animation where color pop matters. Motion handling is another area where the numbers tell the story. The TU700D's response time clocks in around 13 to 15 milliseconds, compared to 11 to 13 milliseconds for the TU7000. That small difference is enough to create visible smearing during fast action or gaming. Analysts point out that these changes aren't always listed on the spec sheet, but they show up in real-world use and in the data collected by review sites like RTI-NGS. The pattern repeats with Walmart's ONN house brand. Lab tests put the 50-inch 4K Onja TV at just 230 to 250 nits of peak brightness, over 30% dimmer than entry-level models from TCL or Samsung. Color gamut hovers below 75% DCI-P3, which means muted tones and a flatter, less immersive picture. Motion response lags as well, with fast scenes looking blurry and black levels drifting toward gray. These are choices made to hit a price, and the numbers confirm it. Cheaper panels, less powerful backlights, and cost-cut firmware all add up to a viewing experience that's a step behind the mainstream. For buyers, these gaps aren't just academic. They shape every movie night and game session that follows. Sound is often the first place corners get cut when building a TV for a price. Walmart-exclusive models and house brands like ONN typically use smaller, lower wattage speakers, sometimes as little as 6 or 8 watts per channel, compared to the 10 or 15 watts found in mainstream versions. The result is thin, tinny audio that struggles to fill a living room, even at max volume. Bass is almost non-existent, and dialogue can get lost in the mix. For anyone expecting the punch of a movie theater or the clarity of a sports broadcast, the difference is immediate. Some models even ship with a single audio output, usually basic optical or headphone jack, limiting options for upgrades or sound bars. But the shortcuts don't stop at hardware. Smart features, once a selling point, are often quietly downgraded in these budget builds. Many ONN TVs, for example, run older versions of Roku or Android TV. These builds may be 2 or 3 updates behind, missing new features, security patches, or app compatibility. In some cases, the TV's operating system is stuck on a version that no longer receives updates, leaving buyers with laggy menus, unsupported streaming apps, or even security vulnerabilities. A 2023 lab teardown of an ONN 4K model found it shipped with a Roku OS version that was already a year out of date. Reviewers noted sluggish app launches and frequent crashes. Some Samsung and TCL Walmart variants have also been spotted with stripped-down firmware, missing advanced settings or smart home integrations present in their retail cousins. For buyers, these changes aren't always obvious on the box, but they show up in daily use. The sound doesn't fill the room. The smart TV menu lags or freezes. Popular apps might not run at all or suddenly disappear with no warning. These are the kinds of small frustrations that add up, not just in features lost, but in the experience of owning a TV that feels a step behind from day one. Inside a budget TV, the race to the lowest price doesn't stop at the screen. It runs through every circuit, every chip, every part you can't see. Technicians who open up Walmart-exclusive models and ONN sets find a pattern. Power supplies built with 85-degree capacitors instead of the 105-degree parts used in mainline brands. These cheaper capacitors age quickly under the heat of daily use, losing their ability to regulate power long before the average TV reaches its second birthday. Main boards are often thinner, with fewer layers to dissipate heat, and lack the dedicated heat sinks found in higher-end models. This means processors run hotter, and solder joints face more stress from thermal cycling, expanding and contracting every time the TV is turned on and off. Backlight failures are another common sight. Lower binned LED strips chosen for cost show up in these sets. They may pass basic tests at the factory, but under the pressure of daily use, especially in bright or warm rooms, their lifespan shortens. Repair shops report a steady stream of Walmart TVs with dead backlights or flickering panels, often within 12 to 18 months of purchase. Warranty claim data from providers like Square Trade and Allstate points to an 8 to 10% early failure rate for ONN, and Walmart exclusive models double what's seen in mainstream brands. Most failures trace directly to power supply issues, main board faults, or panel defects, all tied back to the choice of cheaper, less robust parts. For shoppers, the math changes when you factor in lifespan. A $200 TV that fails after 15 months costs more per year than a $350 set that lasts 5. The sticker price may win the day, but the real cost unfolds over time. When a TV quits early, the savings evaporate, replaced by the hassle of repairs, replacements, or, more often, a second trip to the store. The bargain, it turns out, can be surprisingly short-lived. Before a single TV reaches the sales floor, it faces a gauntlet of warehouse and shipping hazards that rarely make it onto the box. In Walmart's distribution chain, flat-screen TVs are moved on pallets stacked 4, 6, sometimes 8 units high. Each box can bear the weight of up to 50 kilograms above it, enough to flex thin glass panels and compress delicate backlight assemblies. In the rush of holiday surges, storage areas aren't always climate-controlled. Temperatures can swing from below freezing in the back of a truck to over 90 degrees Fahrenheit in a crowded warehouse. Those shifts cause glass and circuit boards to expand and contract, sometimes forming micro cracks invisible to the eye but primed to spread with every power cycle. Industry standards show TVs endure shock loads of 20 to 50 Gs from routine drops or bumps, forces high enough to weaken solder joints or dislodge LED strips inside the chassis. Peer-reviewed studies confirm that even a single mishap in transit can seed cracks along the panel's edge or loosen backlight components, leading to flickering, uneven brightness, or outright failure down the line. Warehouse workers, under pressure to move inventory fast, stack and shift boxes with forklifts and conveyor belts, increasing the odds of minor impacts that leave no mark on the packaging but set the stage for problems later. It's not just theory. Warranty providers and repair shops trace a significant share of early TV failures to these hidden stresses, damage that happens before the set is ever plugged in. For buyers, the risk isn't always obvious at checkout, but the effects can surface weeks or months later, long after the TV has left the store. Walmart's return policy spells out a deadline in black and white: 30 days to bring back a TV, no exceptions for late discoveries or slow developing problems. That window closes 2 weeks sooner than Best Buy's 45-day policy, and for many buyers, those lost days can make all the difference. A retail policy analyst points out that the shorter period isn't just about efficiency. It's a calculated barrier that shifts more risk onto the customer. If a TV starts flickering on day 32, or the screen goes black after a month, the odds of a hassle-free exchange drop sharply. Strict requirements add another layer of friction. Walmart demands the original receipt and all packaging, including foam inserts and remote wrappers. Lose the box or toss the plastic, and the odds of a full refund shrink fast. Even minor dents or tears in the packaging have led to rejected returns, according to dozens of user complaints on consumer forums. Some buyers, expecting a quick swap for a defective set, find themselves stuck in a loop of phone calls and store visits, only to be told that missing paperwork or a scuffed box voids their claim. These policies aren't unique to Walmart, but the combination of a short window and rigid conditions leaves many shoppers exposed. For anyone rolling the dice on a budget TV, the real gamble often begins after the purchase, when the clock starts ticking on a return process that can be as unforgiving as the price is low. A few weeks after buying a 55-inch TV from Walmart, a Reddit user named Mike started noticing faint lines flickering across the screen. At first, it seemed minor, just a glitch that would go away with a restart. But by week 5, the picture would cut to black at random, sometimes for minutes at a time. Mike dug out his receipt, checked the calendar, and realized he was still inside the 30-day return window. With the original box and all the packaging in hand, he drove back to the store, hoping for a quick exchange. The customer service desk, though, had other plans. The box had a small tear on one corner, barely bigger than a quarter. The associate pointed to it, shook her head, and explained that any damaged packaging voided the return. Mike tried escalation. A manager, then a phone call to corporate, then an email. Each time, the answer was the same: no box, no refund. The TV, which had worked for less than 2 months, was now his problem to solve. Forced to call a repair shop, he learned that fixing the backlight would cost nearly as much as a new set. Mike's story isn't unique. Online forums are filled with similar accounts. TVs that failed just after the return window, buyers denied help over missing receipts or minor box damage, and frustration mounting with every dead-end call. The price on the shelf may be low, but for many shoppers, the real cost arrives only after the screen goes dark. In early 2024, Walmart finalized a $2.3 billion deal to acquire Vizio, a move that instantly gave the retail giant control over one of the largest smart TV platforms in America. Vizio's SmartCast system already ran in more than 19 million homes, quietly gathering data every time someone turned on their television. On paper, the deal looked like a simple expansion, Walmart adding another electronics brand to its shelves. But the real asset wasn't the TVs themselves. It was the direct line into living rooms across the country and the enormous pool of viewing data that came with it. Vizio didn't just build hardware. Its Platform Plus business had already shifted the company's profits away from selling screens and toward monetizing what people watched. Through SmartCast, Vizio collected device IDs, IP addresses, and second-by-second viewing habits using automatic content recognition technology. This data was packaged and sold to advertisers, fueling a fast-growing ad network that reached millions of households. With the acquisition, Walmart gained more than a TV brand. It acquired a direct pipeline for consumer data and the ability to connect what people watch with what they buy, both in-store and online. Vizio continues to operate as a subsidiary, but the parent company now holds the keys to a powerful ecosystem. The scale of SmartCast's reach, combined with Walmart's existing retail data, sets the stage for a new era where the distinction between entertainment and shopping blurs. For regulators and privacy advocates, the deal raised immediate questions about consent, transparency, and the future of household data. Walmart's control isn't just about selling more TVs. It's about owning the screen, the data, and the connection to millions of everyday lives. In 2017, Vizio found itself at the center of a national privacy scandal. The Federal Trade Commission charged the company with secretly collecting viewing data from more than 11 million smart TVs. Every channel watched, every show streamed, even the timing of when the TV was on or off. Vizio's software tracked it all and then sold that information to advertisers. The catch? Most owners had no idea it was happening. The company had buried its disclosures deep in the settings, and the tracking was enabled by default. When the case reached court, Vizio agreed to pay $2.2 million in penalties and signed a consent decree with the FTC. The settlement forced Vizio to delete all improperly collected data and required clear, affirmative user consent for any future data harvesting. Privacy experts point to this case as a turning point. The FTC's order didn't just fine Vizio, it established that television viewing data is sensitive information, protected under federal law. The consent decree also set strict rules. Any new use or sharing of data, especially when merging it with other personal information, would demand renewed, explicit consent from users. This means that if a company wants to combine TV viewing habits with shopping or online activity, it faces a legal minefield of disclosures and opt-ins. As Walmart takes ownership of Vizio, the consent order remains in force, and regulators are watching closely. Any attempt to fuse Vizio's SmartCast data with Walmart's retail and online records could trigger new investigations or even fresh penalties. For now, the precedent is clear. When a TV watches you, the law expects you to know, and to say yes first. Imagine a world where your TV habits and your shopping cart are no longer separate. Walmart's ownership of Vizio opens the door to a new kind of data fusion, one where what you watch on your living room screen could be quietly linked to what you buy in-store or online. The technology at the center of this is called automatic content recognition, or ACR. Vizio's SmartCast platform already logs which shows you watch, which ads you skip, and even when you switch HDMI inputs. Now, in Walmart's hands, that stream of viewing data can be cross-referenced with purchase history from your Walmart account or app. This isn't science fiction. In the advertising world, it's called closed-loop attribution. If you see a cereal commercial on your Vizio TV, then buy that brand at Walmart the next day, the system can connect those dots. Marketers call this the Holy Grail, knowing exactly which ad led to which sale, and refining future campaigns with every transaction. Privacy experts warn that this level of integration goes far beyond what most people expect from a television. The moment your TV's ACR data merges with your Walmart point-of-sale records, a single profile is born, one that knows both what you watch and what you buy. Consent requirements exist, but disclosures are often buried in fine print, and opt-outs can be hard to find or easy to forget. The cheap TV you brought home to save a few bucks now becomes a node in a vast advertising network, quietly paying Walmart back with every show, every click, every trip to the store. The real cost isn't just privacy, it's the invisible thread that ties your living room to your shopping basket, creating a feedback loop that never really turns off. Black Friday draws crowds for a reason. Major brands like Samsung, LG, and TCL sometimes land on Walmart's floor at prices that beat even the wildest online deals. But for every genuine markdown, there's a catch hiding in the fine print. The real trick is learning to decode the model number. That extra letter or number at the end, like the difference between a TU7000 and a TU700D, can mean the difference between a full-featured TV and a stripped-down variant made just for Walmart's shelves. Before grabbing that doorbuster, check the model suffix against listings on Best Buy, Amazon, or the manufacturer's own site. Even a single digit can signal changes in panel brightness, color capability, or smart features. Review databases like RTI NGS make this process easier. Enter the exact model code and compare the measured specs: peak brightness, color gamut, response time, line by line. If the numbers don't match, the experience won't either. Holiday deals can be real, but only if you know what's inside the box. The right research turns a gamble into a win, letting you spot a genuine discount before you ever reach the register. Box condition isn't just about appearances, it's a first line of defense against headaches down the road. Before leaving the store, check every side for dents, tears, or water damage. Even a small crease can be enough for a denied return if the TV fails early. Open the top flaps and look for missing foam or loose accessories. If anything feels off, ask for a different unit or walk away. For secondary rooms or temporary setups, like a guest bedroom or dorm, Walmart's budget models can make sense. The cost per year math works if you're not expecting the TV to last more than a couple of years. But for a main living space, it's worth thinking twice. Extended warranties can soften the risk, but only if the price is right. Most experts recommend capping warranty spend at $20 to $30 for a budget set. Anything higher eats into the savings fast. A careful inspection, a clear idea of where the TV will live, and a hard cap on extra costs are the best ways to keep a cheap TV from turning into an expensive mistake. Before heading to the checkout, run through this checklist to make sure your next TV isn't just a bargain on paper. Start by matching the model number letter for letter with listings from Best Buy, Amazon, and the manufacturer's own site. A single suffix, like a D or an extra digit, can mean real differences in brightness, color, or features. Next, look up lab-tested specs on Artingez or display specifications. If the numbers don't match, the experience won't either. Inspect the box carefully for dents, tears, or signs of water damage. Even a small crease can void your return if the TV fails early. Always keep the original receipt and all packaging, foam, plastic, and even the remote's bag. If you're thinking about an extended warranty, cap the spend at $20 to $30 for a budget set. Anything more eats into your savings. Finally, decide where the TV will live. For a main living room, stick to mainline models with verified specs. For a bedroom or dorm, a budget set can make sense. Just know what you're trading for the price. Walmart's 2024 acquisition of Vizio for $2.3 billion marked a turning point. Today, over 19 million SmartCast TVs are now part of the retailer's expanding ad and data network. As the evidence shows, many Walmart TVs like the Samsung TU700D or ON 50-inch 4K are built to hit a price, even if it means using lower-grade parts, older software, and a shorter return window than competitors. Lab tests confirm these models often lag in brightness, color, and durability, while user forums document frequent early failures. Still, some questions remain, such as how far Walmart will integrate shopping and viewing data, or whether future privacy regulations will keep pace with these changes. What's clear is that the real cost of a bargain goes far beyond the sticker price. Cheap TVs often trade performance and privacy for savings, making every purchase part of a much bigger business model.